Cameroon puts her event organizational prowess to the test tomorrow as she begins hosting the 24th Senior Women Handball African Cup of Nations with ambition to grab the trophy for the very first time. Cameroon's Houses of Parliament convene in Yaoundé tomorrow for the second ordinary session of the 2021 legislative year. Stakes and challenges of the June session right here in this edition. Nigeria's Boko Haram leader ABUBAKAR SHEKAU is reported dead, a death confirmed by rival militants of the Islamic State's West Africa province. Those are our lead stories. Hello, I'm Benn, MENO PUFONG in Yaoundé, and this is the 7:30 news.
I urge you once again to put on your face masks, to wash your hands regularly, and to consult a physician or any other health personnel if you notice any symptoms. This is the only way to save lives and to curb the spread of the virus.
Thanks for joining us. The attention of the African continent will descend on Cameroon tomorrow as the 24th edition of the Senior Women Handball African Cup of Nations opens in Yaoundé. All the participating nations are already in the nation's capital ahead of the official opening ceremony at the multipurpose sports complex in Wada here in Yaoundé at 2 p.m. Romeo Kenya presents the participating nations that have dropped from 12 to 11 following the last-minute withdrawal of Algeria, and Cameroon that is gunning for its very first continental title in the tournament.
7 teams to watch for during the 24th Senior Women's Handball AFCON. Defending champions Angola are super favorites. They are 13 times champions of the tournament. In Cameroon, they are hoping to impose supremacy with a 25-man strong delegation, 18 of whom are players with an average age of 24. Congo will certainly not be lackluster. They lastly mounted the podium in 1985 in Angola. Nigeria are back in the competition some 26 years after, but their lone 1991 triumph in Egypt cannot be undermined. The 16 players present in Yaoundé are poised creating major upset, but 2018 finalist Senegal and 2014 vice champions DR Congo could spring astonishing performances. Host Cameroon have been runners-up on 3 occasions. They lastly reached the stage in 2004. The Lionesses are surely banking on home advantage in an 18th participation to impose pioneer hegemony at home. Guinea, Madagascar, Kenya and Cabo Verde have never dared the semis, talk less of finals. Madagascar are on their maiden expedition. They are the youngest squad of the showpiece and will inevitably want to outclass top dogs. The competition begins this Tuesday. Games will take place at the Yaoundé Multipurpose Sports Complex. The over 1,000-seater quad of the Yaoundé Omnisport Stadium will serve as training ground for teams. It will also host a semi-final game on June 16.
And the coach of the national handball team, Serge Guebogo, has made public a cast of 23 players for tomorrow's tournament opener against Kenya. The squad that is expected to pave the way for a place in the finals is a blend of experienced and young talents. Daniel Ekonde now picks out the key women likely to lead Cameroon to victory in the competition.
Coach Serge Guebogo's roster of 23 players released this Monday is local and abroad-based. For a team that last reached the Handball Africa Cup of Nations final close to 2 decades ago, hosting on home soil requires some experience. That's why pivot Jacqueline Mosisole is drafted in the final court. More than 80 appearances for the national team place her at the most senior level in the women's game. Her ability to slip through the defense of opponents and play fast interpositional balls gives her the nickname the Genius. She's well-grounded with a Cameroonian model of the sport, having played for Dynamique Bokito before joining Fans Handball Club. In the goal is a blend of youthfulness and experience. Veteran Beth ABUBAKAR is coming back after making more than 30 appearances for the country. Another option is 2019 Africa Games silver medalist Paul Marie Balana. The Fab keeper has also won the Cup of Cameroon. Finesse will be required for middle back Fabiola Makamte, the 31-year-old coming from France to dispute another continental competition with Cameroon. French League's most promising player of the 2017-2018 season, Karishma Eko, who decided to play for Cameroon this year. The skill and resilience of these players and others in the squad will be put to the test when they face off Kenya this Tuesday in their first match.
Cameroon is again poised to rise up to yet another organizational feat, that of staging the 2021 Senior Women Handball African Cup of Nations that rumbles off tomorrow here in Yaoundé. To live up to the challenge, the country has a top-notch gymnasium and an automodern sports complex and a fleet of other state-of-the-art facilities to show. Gideon Tazo reports that this is yet another rendezvous for Cameroon to rise and shine from an organizational perspective.
With more than enough world-class sports infrastructure and a running record in event organization, Cameroon is fast turning out to be the hub of sports events on the continent. The spate of events organized with success in recent times now speak for the country's image. Among these events, allusion can be made of the outstanding women's AFCON of 2016, the basketball and volleyball AFCONs, the qualifiers for the African Basketball League BAL, the SHAN, the Grand Prix Chantal Biya, and the just ended International Cycling Tour of Cameroon. Interestingly, the growing success of these sport events have now become a challenge for country Cameroon to keep it up and even ameliorate. In the days ahead, beginning this Tuesday, June 8, Cameroon hosts the African handball family. Once again, Cameroon hopes to live up to expectation, to back up intention with action. Cameroonian authorities have just availed the Confederation of African Handball of a newly constructed charming gymnasium for the matches. Besides, the Yaoundé Sports Complex is also around, ready to host some games. Good tidings indeed for the image of country Cameroon.
While the handball arena bubbles up for tomorrow's event, the dust is yet to settle on Clovis Kamzong Abosolo's prowess at the just-ended International Cycling Tour of Cameroon, where he emerged overall winner, retaining the yellow jersey. The Cameroonian cyclist who pedals for SNH Velo Club, by dint of yesterday's victory, was winning his second International Cycling Tour race, adding to one victory at the Chantal Biya International Grand Prix. Baldwin Sama now profiles the champion with a special eye on the secrets of his success story.
He consults with his coach 24 hours after his victory. Clovis Kamzong Abosolo anxiously leaves and heads home, where his family happily welcomes him back. The joy of meeting his family weeks after is telling on the face of this champion.
I'm very happy to meet my family in good health. After 1 month of absence, I am back. My family is okay, and I am happy.
He has been outstanding for several years, and he has secrets for his victory and special plans for the future.
My secret is hard work. I train several times a week. I've set a target for myself. Twice I've won the Tour of Cameroon and once the Chantal Biya International Grand Prix. For now, I need to beat other records.
Riding for the SNH Velo Club, he says, has been a plus to his career.
SNH helps us a lot. The officials support us.
The dream of a father has contaminated the son who would like to emulate his father's example.
Away from sports, let's talk education now. The examination season has opened in Cameroon, with students of the technical education and HND candidates launching hostilities today with the first subject of their end-of-course examinations. The examinations are taking place within the context of the COVID-19 pandemic, as the various centers have taken dispositions to ensure the sanitary security and safety of the candidates. Beatrice Ngum was out with the candidates this morning and now paints the picture of what she saw and heard in some of these examination centers.
The rush started as early as 6:30 a.m. In droves, candidates at the technical back, like those sitting in for the technician's certificate, made their way to the different centers dotted across Yaoundé. Masks checked, temperatures controlled, candidates are then allowed access to the examination hall.
The ministry has provided us of soap, buckets, and masks, so that if a candidate forgets his mask when he comes to the center, we can give him one mask so that he run his exam with all the confidence possible.
In the halls, social distancing is a must. Here at Government Bilingual Technical High School, Yaoundé, some 1,379 candidates are sitting the technical back and technician's certificate in 4 trades.
In industrial techniques, we have fashion, clothing, and textile. In TST section, we have accountancy, secretaryship, marketing, economic science, and home economics, and even tourism too.
Candidates sitting in for the technical back are different from those sitting for the technician's certificate. With a technical back, candidates can continue with their studies. Meanwhile, the technician's certificate is a professional certificate that opens doors to opportunities on the job market or for self-employment.
Bilingualism being one of the defining characteristics of Cameroon, the bilingual baccalaureate or bac bilingue candidates were also on the takeoff line today, demonstrating their oratory in the oral examination huddle. Being a novelty in Cameroon, in Cameroon's educational system, Alice Mbe took interest in the specificities of this bilingual examination, as she found out in one of the centers in Yaoundé today.
At Collège Bilingue Charles et Thérèse Mbakop, 62 candidates are sitting for the bilingual communication exams. In total, 621 students will be writing in this center.
It's 24 students by class. One student every text. There's 2 members of jury, the president and the assistant. Every student come and choose one question, and they give me 20 minutes and come to defend himself.
Students are confident writing the exam.
I've prepared it very well. I'm getting up every 1 o'clock to prepare to read, so I'm very anxious. I'm sure that I will have my exam this year.
Today we are starting with oral communication, and I'm very glad to write my exam and to begin today, and I think that it will be good.
Results obtained by the jury will be forwarded to Office du Bac for final results. The exams are unfolding in a COVID-19 hitch-free environment.
We now take you over to Douala, the nation's economic capital, which is currently hit by a wave of insecurity as machete-bearing young men invade neighborhoods, terrorizing people and making away with their property. Gendarmerie and the other security forces, and as well as the other forces of law and order, have waged a war against these bold-faced marauders, tracking them down and bringing them to book. From Douala, Alphonse Abongwa Achu reports on this phenomenon.
The evil is real, but the battle against it is merciless. The database for crime wave of the Littoral Gendarmerie Legion presents hikes on the aggressive phenomenon, popularly known as microbes. In fact, young men who are enemies of peace and tranquility move around in their groups and inflict sporadic attacks in neighborhoods with the use of light arms like cutlasses, axes, sticks, and every other object at their disposal. From August to December 2020, at least 10 of such cases were recorded, and the gendarmerie in all these the suspects in their numbers and tracked them down. Some are currently answering charges for their acts before the competent courts in Douala. The latest cases of microbes were reportedly recorded this Monday, June 7, at the New Belmakia neighborhood. By the time of this report, the gendarmerie had apprehended 2 suspects, and over the weekend, 6 others were equally picked up in connection to similar acts in the Brazzaville and Bongo neighborhoods. Also prominent on the table of crimes in Douala is the case of car theft, drug abuse, and general aggressions. Gendarmerie officials say averagely they track down 50 cases of drug abuses in Douala per week.
You're watching the 7:30 news on the Cameroon Radio Television, the CRTV. We are beaming live from Yaoundé. Cameroon's Houses of Parliament convene in Yaoundé tomorrow for the second ordinary session of the 2021 legislative year. The lower house opens at 11 a.m. while the upper chamber follows at 4 p.m. at their makeshift venue at the Yaoundé Conference Center. Parliamentary Affairs correspondent Charles Anyangwe highlights the stakes and challenges of the June session.
Senators and lawmakers of the National Assembly from the 10 regions of Cameroon will begin meeting at the Yaoundé Conference Center this Tuesday for the June session of Parliament. The 2 houses of Parliament will be meeting separately to deliberate on a wide range of issues that touch on the socio-political and economic life of the nation. The major challenge that the lawmakers of both the upper and lower houses of Parliament will be called upon to address will be the voting of laws. They are expected to receive government bills which will be debated upon at the different competent committees before they are brought before the entire House chamber for adoption. Apart from the voting of laws, members of the 2 houses of Parliament will also have to exercise their constitutional duty of controlling government actions during question time. One of the major issues to be handled during this session would be the budgetary orientation debate. This was initiated by the Ministry of Finance to enable senators and MPs to evaluate the execution of the budget of this year and to make projections for next year. They are expected to hold an exchange forum with the audit bench of the Supreme Court to update their knowledge on the elaboration, scrutiny, and adoption of the state budget for 2022.
The defamation of government officials and political figures is now becoming the favorite pastime of social media followers. With the financial scandal that they now call the COVID Gate, most of these officials have been tried and convicted on social media platforms, even when the proceedings of these issues are still ongoing in law courts. Question: should these officials let sleeping dogs lie or sit up and speak out? That's the issue on Talk of the Day tonight, as compiled by Constantine Baum.
When legal proceedings have been opened, like the one regarding the management of COVID-19 funds at the Special Criminal Court, there is no need for those accused and condemned on the social media for them to react to the hasty social media conclusions.
The best option is for them to keep quiet, and we will not have to answer. And the one who assigned them specific duties to carry out, those know exactly what he is also waiting for. So they will have to answer to him, and once the information which are necessary are put at the disposal of the masses, no problem, people will naturally be informed.
A collective statement from their spokesperson might be well appreciated.
They have interest to first to stay quiet and analyze the situation, and first they have speakers, people who has to speak for them, and we are waiting for those people.
Legal experts say most people on social media don't have a background in understanding the relevant laws.
Defamation through the social media is like any other defamation, and any victim of a defamation has a right to seek redress. The person who initiates the information has committed the offense. If you send it to another person, then you have committed the offense. So the offense now is targets 2 persons, the initiator and the person who's helped in propagating.
Following the investigation on the use of funds which is ongoing at the Special Criminal Court, the government has asked for restraint and a sense of responsibility as the court has not yet passed its verdict establishing people guilty or not.
The new monarch of Garwa, His Majesty Ibrahim El Rashidini, has been meeting with the Minister of Territorial Administration, Paul Atanganji, here in Yaoundé. The two held discussions today at the Minister's Cabinet, during which Minister Atanganji handed over President Paul Biya's letter of congratulations to the Lamido on his election at the helm of the Garwa Lamidat. Ebenezer Kanga reports.
This was the first outing of the Lamido of Garwa, His Majesty Ibrahim El Rashidini, to Yaoundé since he was elected on May 10, 2021. For his first outing to the nation's capital, he was received in audience by the Minister of Territorial Administration. Paul Atanganji handed a letter of congratulations from the head of state to the Lamido for his election. The Lamido, in turn, expressed sincere gratitude to the head of state for the letter of congratulations.
I wish to thank the President of the Republic, Paul Biya, for instructing the holding of free and transparent elections executed by the titular Ministry of Territorial Administration. Now, I have the obligation to deliver in the Garwa chiefdom.
As auxiliary of the administration, His Majesty Ibrahim El Rashidini pledged to perform his task fully, while the Minister of Territorial Administration promised him the total support of the administration.
Despite our efforts, COVID-19 plunged many families into mourning and seriously hampered the functioning of our economy and society.
The COVID-19 vaccination campaign is timidly but surely picking steam across the national territory, even as the vaccine scare continues to hold many more people back. However, health officials continue to advise that there are a number of prerequisites that people should meet before they show up for the vaccines. Dr. Andreas Njo of the Public Health Emergencies Operations Center and Baldwin Sama come back now on some of these prerequisites. Hello, Baldwin. Take the cue.
Good evening to you, Benn, MENO, PUFONG. It remains a major worry for some Cameroonians, especially those who have not yet had themselves vaccinated, to know exactly where they should go to, wherever they find themselves, if they wish to have themselves vaccinated against the coronavirus. Which are the available vaccination centers? Let's discuss that tonight with Dr. Andreas Njo, the Deputy Permanent Secretary of the National Immunization Program. Good evening to you, Doctor.
Good evening, Baldwin.
Which are these available in vaccination centers we have in the country?
Thank you so much. So far, there are more than 230 active vaccination centers for COVID-19 across the country. And worth noting is the fact that in every health district of the country, there is at least one site offering vaccination against COVID-19. So we encourage the population to get close to any health facility within their location, and they will be indicated where they can get a vaccination against COVID-19. So you don't need to go far. Within your health district, there is at least a site. Some health districts have more sites.
In regions where we have high demands, like the center and littoral regions of Cameroon, for example, where do they go to?
Of course, you can go to the lead health facility in at least these ones offer vaccination against COVID. Now, for the bigger health district with a large population density, there are more sites. You may have 2, 3, and some even 4 vaccination sites. The international vaccination centers also across the country are also offering vaccination against COVID-19. So these are all the sites, easy to be noticed.
Thank you so much, Dr. Andreas Njo. The National Immunization Program keeps reminding us, especially those eager to have themselves vaccinated against the coronavirus, for the availability of these different vaccination centers in the 10 different regions of Cameroon. Back to you, Benn, MENO, PUFONG.
Thank you very much, Baldwin Sama. Construction work at the 225/90 kilovolt power transmission line from Yaoundé to Abombang has hit the 65% completion mark. Once completed, the line will supply electricity to the Opanyong division directly from Abombang and no longer from Bertoua like is currently the case. Water and Energy Minister Gaston Eludu Esomba was out on the work site for an on-the-spot appraisal. Our reporter Clarissa Ray Takang is with the minister in Abombang.
Candles, lamps, torches or solar panels and generators for those who can afford them. Some of the alternative energy sources the population of the Opanyong division resorted to in order to deal with the frequent power outages. The construction of a 225 kilovolt transmission line from Mahala and Yaoundé to Abombang in the East region is a sigh of relief.
We recorded too much forestry enterprises who implement themselves here. We think that with the amelioration of electricity disposal, we have more and more of them here.
The locals' adhesion to the project was acknowledged and a compensation plan already outlined. With 65% of the job done, the potential is in the benefits.
You are going to stop a thermal power plant which supply this region nowadays and will receive hydroelectricity. You'll be sure that you will avoid blackout because of the fact that you have a new transmission line, you have a new substation, and you have more electricity.
December 2021 is the deadline contractors have been given. It will mean that the Opanyong will no longer have to depend on Bertoua for energy needs.
The 4 babies recently delivered through the in vitro fertilization technique and their mothers today received a consignment of special gifts from the Cameroonian First Lady Chantal Biya to support in their upbringing and upkeep. The gifts were handed over to them at the hospital center during a ceremony that was watched for us by staff lady Henanga Kebi.
4 large suitcases, 4 wrapped gifts, and 4 bouquets of fresh flowers, all from Mrs. Chantal Biya, were received with joy by Professor Jean-Marie Cassia and the personnel of CRTV right at the entrance of the hospital.
I think it's a wonderful act because when you see what she's doing every day for this institution, she's close to what is happening here. She's pushing us to go forward.
At the ward, the 4 mothers were all smiles and grateful to the First Lady for the happy surprise.
Thank you very much to the First Lady. This is wonderful. I hope that many women can come here and be satisfied like we all are.
To the pediatrician, all is fine with the babies.
They are doing very fine and they are on breastfeeding as we recommend always.
Showering love and gifts to mothers and babies from the First Lady is fast becoming a routine tradition. Despite her tight schedule, Mrs. Chantal Biya is sometimes present to share the joy of motherhood with the lucky mothers.
Until news out of Cameroon now, the leader of the Boko Haram jihadist group, ABUBAKAR SHEKAU, has been announced dead. His death has been confirmed by the leader of the rival group, the Islamic State's West Africa province. Ebenezer Kanga has been monitoring that development for the 7:30 News.
The death of the leader of the jihadist group, Boko Haram, ABUBAKAR SHEKAU, has been announced in an audio recording set to be the voice of the leader of rival group, the Islamic State West Africa Province, ISWAP, Abu Musab al-Banawi. According to the audio recording, ABUBAKAR SHEKAU died by detonating explosives on himself after a battle between the two groups. Reports of his death emerged 2 weeks ago and have now been confirmed by the leader of ISWAP. Fighters of the Islamic State West Africa Province have been haunting the warlord, asking him to repent and join them. The leader of Boko Haram has been reported dead several times before, only to resurface. ABUBAKAR SHEKAU took over the reins of Boko Haram in 2009 after its leader died in police custody. He transformed the group from an underground sect to a deadly insurgency that has swept across northeast Nigeria, Cameroon, Chad, and Niger. His agenda was to create an Islamic state under Sharia law. Since he took charge of Boko Haram, more than 30,000 people have been killed and over 2 million displaced from their homes.
The 7:30 news on the Cameroon Radio Television. That's the way it was. Good night.
I urge you once again to put on your face masks, to wash your hands regularly, and to consult a physician or any other health personnel if you notice any symptoms. This is the only way to save lives and to curb the spread of the virus.
CRTV News, ici, toute l'info.